Welcome, everyone. I'm John Ryan. This is the College Football Week 5 edition. Quick hitting segments here. I'm going to give you a best bet and some live betting opportunities to hopefully keep the baking coming home. We are doing quite well, as this graphic will tell you. I'm documented, of course. And the record right now in college football and the NFL is right there. So we try to produce a significant number of plays without over betting. And we also want to hit a very high percentage. So we've been doing this for 29 years. And the proof is in the pudding, as they say. So if you want a subscription, reach out to me at johnryansports@gmail.com, or simply send me a direct message at Twitter on my feed and account, which is at John Ryan Sports and the number 1. So that is that. And let's get right to the action here. Week 5 is going to prove to be another tremendous week. And, the whole weekend of football was incredible, from the NFL, Dolphins scoring 70 on the Denver Broncos and Sean Payton, to all those upsets, Arizona upsetting Dallas. And yes, I did have Dallas in a couple of my eliminator entries, which, I just wanted to make it to next week. I was going to take Jacksonville. They lost. I also had the Houston Texans as an 8-unit best bet, and that is what disqualified me from taking Jacksonville and seeing if Jacksonville could win, but Houston would cover. And I thought that was nonsense, and it just didn't work out for the eliminator. But the picks overall went 3-1. Got fortunate with the Chargers and the under in that game, but you know what? We'll take it. It's like nobody is in bowling, for example. Nobody has gotten a lucky strike and said, "Oh no, wait, I just put a couple of pins back up because I don't deserve it." But the bad breaks and the bad beats and the good beats, they all even out over the course of a season. Nobody goes the whole season, complaining about bad beats. But anyway, let's get to the slide I have today for college football, and this is a big one. Penn State, undefeated, flying under the radar, in my humble opinion, after a 31-0 dominating win over Iowa, in which they held them to barely, I think it was actually under 100 total yards of offense and 3 first downs for the entire game. And Penn State outgained them by more than 320-some yards, and it really was a team effort. So this team didn't get any mention at all about the shutout. It was all, about the Alabamas, the Georgias, the Ohio State, Notre Dame game, which was spectacular. And that was a game that was truly one for the history books already with that finish. Florida State hangs on, gets it done in overtime due to a bad field goal kick in the last couple of seconds. And you have to feel for that kid very much, because that's what people remember, unfortunately. They don't remember the plays before that led up to the need to kick a game-winning field goal. I think Clemson, for the most part, outplayed Florida State in that game. I had no action on that one. But my 10-unit play was Alabama, and they came through in fine fashion. Nick Saban has had a history of being in situations such as he was this past week, and in general, he comes through in fine fashion. I just let the models and the predictive angles that come from the models just set up the situations. And like I love to say, I don't bet teams or mascots, I bet numbers. And that, at the end of the day, really is what matters most. Yep, coaching matters, but the numbers tied to that coach matter even more. So in this game, we have James Franklin and Penn State off to a fine start. Drew Allar is a tremendous bet right now to win the Heisman. Think about it. If Penn State pulls this off and beats Ohio State and Michigan, you can bet that Drew Allar is going to be in the mix for the Heisman Trophy Award. And he's not going to be at 35-1 as offered currently at DraftKings. Also, to win the national championship at 16-1, and also odds less than that to make it to the college football playoff, I think are tremendous value bets right now, with a team that is realistically fully capable of beating both of those teams. And then, of course, we have the round robin like we have every year with Penn State, Ohio State, and Michigan. They're not just in the same conference. They're in the same division, the East Division of the Big Ten. And this will be the last time that they will have to play each other in the same season, as the Big Ten advances the number of teams next year to at least 16, and that will eliminate them playing each other. In fact, the plan is that in 1 year they'll play Michigan. Ohio State will always play Michigan, but Penn State will play Michigan 1 year, Ohio State the next, and it will alternate year after year after year. So anyway, what matters is that we're going to bet on a ranked team on the road. That ranked team is coming off a 24-point win. That win was by 24 or more points. If our road team is favored, if our total is under 52.5 points. So the ranked team is coming off a 24-point win, and that is basically repeated twice there. I apologize for that. It's supposed to be ranked team coming off a win. Anyway, 27-13-1 to the over for 68%. If our road team is favored, which Penn State is currently favored as 27-point favorite, 24-10 for 71%. And if the total is under 52.5 points, which it currently is, 9-2-1 over, spanning the last 15 seasons in college football for 82% winners. So I like the over this week in the Penn State game. I also like Penn State on the side. So if you like Penn State as I do, betting it in game here is really an attractive opportunity. That line is going to be all over the place. When they're 27 points and we get near the second half and say it is possibly a 17-7 game, that means Northwestern's outperforming, and you're going to be able to get that line at maybe 22.5, 23.5. It won't be 27, and that's the point. So I'm not recommending Penn State pre-flop here necessarily, but if you like them, no more than 50%, and then look for 24.5 points for 20%, leaving 30% in two more bets, 15% at 21.5 points, and the other 15% at 20.5 points. I don't think it'll get under 20 unless Northwestern gets some kind of turnover or a pick six or what have you. Their team total is only 8.5 points, folks, and Penn State has held their first four opponents to the nation's fifth best scoring defense at 8.5 per game. So that is a pretty good number right there for Northwestern. It's hard to bet the under, but I wouldn't be surprised if they don't reach 10 points in that. And I also think betting the over with Penn State, since we already like the over 36.5 right now, DraftKings minus 115. I like that bet. And of course, you can maybe just put 2 units on the over 8.5 Northwestern, because they could get a jump touchdown at the end of the game to make it 13 or 14 points and easily go over it. And that would certainly help our cause for the over point total for the full game. Penn State team total touchdowns over 4.5 right now, plus 100. I wouldn't be surprised if they scored 6. That's how bullish I am on Penn State in this matchup. I do think they ultimately cover the spread. I personally just don't like laying 27 points in any college football game. And lastly, I'm looking at total touchdowns for the game. So right now, over 5.5 plus 105. I think that is a good bet. That's an alternative bet to the 8-unit bet that you would put on the total for the game. So if you like that bet too, then reduce your total bet to 7 units and add 1 unit over 5.5 touchdowns plus 105 as the final part of your betting strategy. Point of this whole 10-minute show here is that you must have a plan going into the game in order to be effective in live game betting. Live game betting is not sitting there thinking, oh, I just made a horrible bet, so now I'm going to hedge it and take the other side. More times than not, I have seen customers, friends, just complain that they got screwed and they lost both ends of the bet. So don't use it to hedge. Hedging is something that's done by professionals pre-flop. They bet it a couple months in advance. The line moves like it does in the NFL. Some of these situations now to a point where they can buy it back. That's hedging your original bet that you liked. And hedging in-game betting is looking for trouble. Now, if you start out pre-flop with nothing and you have an opportunity to say you bet Northwestern at plus 34.5, and then all of a sudden they score a couple of touchdowns and the line comes down to 27.5 favoring Penn State, and you bet Penn State and you play a middle. I like that idea, but you got to have a plan of what levels, what point totals are going to work. So 34.5 is the number you like, which I would like. Then pizza money and try it. And then if Northwestern scores and ties the game up again and it gets back down to 27.5, then you can take Penn State thinking that they're going to cover. They're not going to lose the game, certainly, and have fun with it. That's the most important thing I can share with you right now, is to have fun with these betting opportunities. That's what they are, opportunities. There are no locks. Anybody tells you they have a lock, and worse yet, they have a lock and then they won, it's just a recipe down the road to lose more money than you just possibly won. So just avoid that term. It's not a good one. I don't even like saying games of the month or games of the year. I don't know the last time I even mentioned game of the year. I just use 10 unit, 5% max bets. And the 5% means that that's 5% of your bankroll. Now, a lot of people don't use bankrolls, and I get it. Pros generally do. I do. So that's why I use the unit method, because if you're comfortable betting, say $10 a unit and it's an 8-unit bet, you're going to bet $80 on this game I just featured for you. So I hope that helps. Aim here is to provide some education and some awareness, make you a more astute bettor, and also to get feedback from all of you that are watching these videos, averaging about 1,200 views now per session. Let's try to get it up to 20,000. Why not? I had some videos over at Wager Talking Sports Memo that exceeded that. So why not? That's just we're not rebuilding. We're just restart the engine and have fun. So comments are greatly appreciated, and we'll all learn from each other, and we'll have a successful college and pro season. So until tomorrow at 3 o'clock Eastern time, I will have the NFL and college football show for 45 minutes with some outstanding betting minds in the business and some just great sports hosts from iHeartRadio and some of the major radio stations in the Northeast, featuring Bobby Kravitsky. And I'm sure you're going to enjoy just listening to them instead of me on this monologue. So until then, tonight, bet with your head, not over it, and may all the wins be yours. Thanks for watching.